Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Oxygen Not Included. We're back, it's day 4 with the impenetrable gang, Stinky, Frankie, and Hassan. In the last episode, we got the very basics of our colony up and running. We got somewhere for them to sleep, somewhere for them to go to the bathroom, some way of generating power and research, and we started very briefly on generating food down here in our little carbon dioxide pit that we generated at the bottom here. And in today's episode, I want to push forward a little bit further, try and get some more research done, try and figure out what we're going to do with the polluted water that comes out of the outhouse and the wash basin. You'll see here there are two tanks on the wash basin, one for the clean water that we pull from our pump over here, and one that is slowly filling up with polluted water that accumulates as the duplicants actually use the wash basin. And also every time the outhouse needs cleaning out, it's got 9 more visits left. Once those 9 visits have been done, that will need cleaning out and it will produce a like a bottle of polluted water that we need to deal with. We're going to find somewhere to put that. And on top of that, we also want to work on food a little bit more in today's episode. You'll notice right here that one of our mealwood plants is not growing. That is due to the body temperature of the plant. If we click on one of these guys, you'll see over here on the right that they can only grow between 10 and 30 degrees Celsius. Right now, if we look at the temperature overlay, you'll see that right about here is kind of where it starts to get a little warm, down by this sandstone and this chlorine over here. And it's kind of just on the edge of this like nice temperate bubble that we start in. And so we've put this one just a little bit too close to the hot area of the map. And so right here it is 35 degrees Celsius. Right here is just over at 30.2 degrees. It's just outside of that body temperature range. And so I probably am going to move this. But on top of that, we also need to keep an eye on this temperature in general. Much like in the real world, the hot air will try and move into this area of colder air here. And so at some point, as soon as we can, really, we do want to put in some form of insulated tile to stop that hot temperature coming through and raising the temperature of our base as a whole, especially if we want to continue to grow our mealwood at this lower level here, because that temperature is just going to continue to spread and cause more issues for us. But before we start working on this food here, first things first, let's go ahead and select a research. The first thing that I want to select today is the advanced research tab. This gives us access to advanced research, which is what we need to unlock basically everything past this like second level here. They all require a little bit of normal research and advanced research as well. It also gives us the supercomputer, which allows us to actually perform that advanced research. And we also get a skill scrubber, which refunds the duplicant skill points for reassignment. Duplicants will lose all assigned skill points in the process. Of course, referring to the skills tree up here that we looked at in the last episode. No one's got any skill points yet, so we're still not quite there on skills. And let's not forget, we do also have our printing pod here. Right now, these are different actually. This has changed since the end of the last episode. That's interesting. I wonder if reloading the game, like saving, quitting out, and then reloading, refreshes this. That's an interesting mechanic. But nevertheless, I don't necessarily think that I'm too interested in a new dupe right now, especially given that we can't re-roll these dupes, because right now I think the key thing that I'm looking for, maybe, or one of the things that I'm looking for, is artistry. I would really like a duplicant who is good at making sculptures, good at making paintings, all that kind of stuff that are really going to help make the base look nicer and also reduce stress going forward. But for now, I think I'm just going to go with the fertilizer here. 3,000 kilograms of fertilizer seems pretty nice to add to the 150 kilograms that we already have. So I will go ahead and print that like so. I'm also going to keep this game paused because our duplicants are not really doing anything just yet, and so I'm not really in too much of a hurry to get them going. Is all of this too hot? No, okay, I was going to say, they all said growth halted for a second there. That was a little bit terrifying. But nevertheless, what I would like to do here is I want to do a little bit of base planning. So you may remember in the last episode, I dug out a 3-wide tunnel here to help with the airflow throughout the base. And as we expand, I want to really try and keep all of my ladders in that same form factor. I want to have a 3-wide gap, so 1 gap either side of my ladders here. And if possible, I would also really like my base to be as symmetrical as it possibly can be. And so I think what I am going to have to do is move my research station, also maybe move this door back a little bit. This door is fine. It works where it is. I should point out, actually, people in the comment section did correct me on this. In the last episode, I set this door to open, and I said one of the benefits of leaving that door open was increased airflow. Apparently, that's not the case. Apparently, that doesn't do anything. But what it does do is it does allow the duplicates to move faster into and out of the room. Normally, they would walk to the door, stand there, wait a second while it opens, and then walk through it. Now, with the door being open all the time, they can just walk in and out freely whenever they like. And so I am going to go ahead and I'm going to hold off on taking down the research station just yet because I do want the research to actually get done. Instead, what I will do is I will start by potentially digging down this way. I do want to watch out for this body of water, and I also do want to move this ladder as well. Again, really in the name of symmetry here, I want to have my next ladder probably right about here, going down like this. And then we'll have a gap here and here. We'll kind of have just like a little island for our portal in the middle with big platforms either side of it. I think that could look quite good and work quite nicely, especially in the realm of oxygen and carbon dioxide movement throughout the base. Also, I did put this ration box down here in the last episode, and I don't think I mentioned it, but one of the main reasons why we want the ration box here, on top of the fact that it's right next to the mealwood that we're about to collect, or the meal lice, I believe, is what you actually get from the plant there. But another benefit that we have from the ration box is that it actually stores food a lot better if it is completely surrounded in carbon dioxide. So right now, it's not getting that benefit. If we look in here, I don't think there's anything in here just yet, but right now it says unrefrigerated and storing 0 out of 150 kilograms. If we go ahead and delete this and then move it over to here, the fact that it's completely surrounded by carbon dioxide should mean that the food decays much, much slower in this box here, which is ideally what we want, right? I might move this again pretty soon, just because we are going to have to move the meal lice and do a bit of reorientating fairly soon here. But for now, I will leave that there. I'll also go ahead and get rid of this ration box. What that should do is move, if I go ahead and set this priority of this ration box a little higher, they should move everything that's in here down and into this box as well, which is pretty good. I'll also schedule a bit of a dig task here so we can put down another bed, move this one, and kind of start to reorganize things a little bit on that end. And then when it comes to the polluted water, I think right now, all we really can do is dump the polluted water into a little pocket designed for polluted water that is just out of the way. The reason why we have to deal with polluted water sooner rather than later is because if you don't deal with polluted water, they will just leave it in bottles on the ground, and those polluted bottles of water will emit polluted oxygen, which can cause your duplicates to get sick, and just in general, they don't like breathing in that polluted oxygen. It's going to increase stress and all the bad stuff that we really don't want going on in our base, and so really just want to get rid of that as soon as is possible. Later on down the line, we do get the ability to filter polluted oxygen out of the air. We also get the ability to filter polluted water back into usable drinking water as well, which is going to be useful at some point because this water won't last forever. It is going to slowly trickle down. In this world, we do have a good amount of water to start with. You can see we've got 3 rather big patches here, which is quite nice, but it is still something we do need to keep in the back of our minds for the future, because if we don't, then it's going to creep upon us, and eventually we're going to end up in a situation where we've got no water, and our duplicates just die of either dehydration or, you know, they can't use a toilet so they get germs, or they can't wash their hands so they get germs, and all that kind of stuff. It can add up real quick. So I will go ahead and throw down another cot here. We'll also go ahead and get rid of this one, and while I'm at it, I'll delete these as well so we can move that wall back in just a second here. We have just completed our research, which is fantastic. I think the next piece of research that I'm going to go for is probably pressure management. We do have to do ventilation first, but if you click on a research that's further down the tree, like if I was to click on HVAC here, it would go ahead and select and do all of these researches until it got to HVAC. And so for now, I'm just going to click pressure management. That will do both of these in order there, so we'll leave that as it is. That's going to allow us to get the airlock and also allow us to get the airflow tiles. As the name suggests, it is essentially just a replacement tile for the normal tile that we're using now. The duplicates can still move across it, but it allows gases to move more freely throughout different floors of the base, essentially allowing the carbon dioxide that our duplicates breathe out to more quickly make its way to the bottom of the base, and all the oxygen generated by some of our plants to more freely kind of flow around and get to places where normally it wouldn't be able to get quite so easily. Like right now, you can see it maybe can't get to this bedroom quite as easily because there's a lot of walling between it. If we replace this here with an airflow tile, or maybe even a few of these here with airflow tiles, the oxygen will flow just so much more easily over and into the bedroom, which is fantastic. And so while those guys are doing that, let's go ahead and build a new wall right about here because we do still want that bedroom bonus. And that is not correct. Get rid of that one and put a regular pneumatic door right about there. Also, while they're at it, we'll dig the roof just a little bit taller here. I do like those 4 wide rooms where possible. And at which point we can then go ahead and start digging out like here, here, and here. Oh, I have to delete these, right? Of course. Here, here, and here. These are not naturally occurring blocks. Now, this guy I want to set to all edible food. That should be fine. I'm going to also set this guy to a slightly higher priority of like 7. I really want all food that we find in that ration box right away. Otherwise, if you leave it on the floor, little creatures that are around can make their way over to your food and eat it if you're not careful. So look at these guys. Oh my goodness. They're simultaneously adorable, but also horrifying. They've got so many eyes and so many like little sacs on the back of their bodies there. I've not seen that guy before, so that's new. I'm familiar with these guys, the little hatches here. These guys have their own separate set of issues because these guys, if I'm not mistaken, will attempt to eat your coal if you leave it lying around, and that's not really something that we want. We ideally would like to keep our coal, potentially for power later on down the line here. I will go ahead and dismantle this as well as this guy, and for now I'll go ahead and dismantle the research station, and I'll rebuild it over on the other side here. I'm actually contemplating setting up a new higher floor and putting both the supercomputer and the research station on that higher floor. The reason for that is that some of these machines here do emit a fair bit of heat, and as I mentioned earlier, we really want to try and keep our core central area here as cool as possible. You can see right now it's really only the battery that's producing a bit of heat, but I know as we go forward, the supercomputer does also pump out a fair bit of heat as well. If we go to state change here, you can not really see it right now, but trust me, this area here is going to get a little hot if we start cramming all of our machines into one small area. And ideally, we don't want the area where our duplicates, sleep and work and eat and use the bathroom to be all that hot. And so I will go ahead and dig a little bit further up, like so. We'll put down some tile right about here. This is going to be our next floor that we're going to have like that. And then we'll dig 4 more tiles up, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll do something like this. This also gets us a nice amount of algae. I am not going to dig out the oxalite there. That's going to provide valuable oxygen that we definitely want to keep a hold of if at all possible. As per usual, we do want to kind of be wary of this chlorine. We don't want to get that into our base just yet. But once we do get the airlocks, what we can do is use... Oh, I'll go ahead and pause here real quick. These guys can't get up here. They're all idling. Oh, I need to dig out, of course. I need to dig out these areas, like so. And also put down my ladders. I was like, why are you guys idling? Go and get some work done. They can't get to the dig area. Also, we'll dig out the sand that has fallen there. We are going to get a little bit more fallen sand as we dig, but that is fine. We should also look towards getting some storage bins going here. You'll see we've got a lot of like sandstone and sedimentary rock and copper and clay and all that kind of stuff kind of building up around the floor, and you can see how algae is just lying around here, which is not the best. There's also a little blossom seed on the floor in our bathroom there, which is also not great. I do want to keep a sharp eye out on our food supplies here. We're at 8,000 kilocalories, which is not super high. Our mealwood is growing, but I think we need significantly more mealwood if we're going to sustainably produce food for our duplicants. And so I do want to expand this out. I think I'm going to expand it out in this direction. That does lead us into an issue with the water, and you can see the water is also going to be an issue if we continue this ladder down here. What I would like to do, ideally, and it's a bit of a risky move, is try and consolidate the water, try and move all of this water kind of over to the right. We could even try and push it down into this pocket over here. Like if we dig down and then we cut a hole here and then also dig out some of this rock in this area, all that water will flow down over here, which I think is probably better for us for the time being. We're not really going to use this all too much. Alternatively, we could dig right down and try and push it and connect it up with this body of water, which would also probably work quite well, just because that consolidates all of our water into one kind of central location. We did also build our planter boxes here on oxalite, which may have not been the best idea in hindsight here. So I will go ahead and put down a couple of tiles here. Again, I don't want to get rid of the oxalite just because it is so valuable in the early game. And I would love to get rid of this and also to destroy that. And then once they've cleared out this area over here, I will go ahead and move probably my generator, and we can almost certainly get rid of this battery now. I think that we do have a new better battery available to us. We don't. I thought we'd done the research for the better battery. I guess not. But that's one of the things that we will do fairly soon here. Again, I am going to set this pneumatic door to open, not for the airflow purposes, but just to allow our duplicants to move around the base just that little bit quicker. And yeah, I was saying earlier, the chlorine, it is not good for us right now. They can't breathe in the chlorine, and so ideally we don't really want it in our base. But chlorine is also a disinfectant, and so we can use this to kill off germs if we'd like. One thing that I have seen people do is, much like we've done with our ration box down here, And you'll see now that we do have the sterile atmosphere status right now, which says microbe destroying conditions have been decreased, or no, have decreased this food's decay rate. So the food is going to decay slower because of the fact that it's completely surrounded by carbon dioxide. The same is true if you put it into chlorine, but chlorine has the added benefit of killing germs as well. And so if, for example, you get food poisoning onto your germs, you can put that food into a chlorinated environment and the food poisoning germs will be killed, which is quite useful, especially now that we have the airlocks. We can set up like a chlorine chamber, and especially now that we have the airlocks, we can set up our own little chlorine chamber. We could kind of have like an airlock here, then maybe like another airlock here, potentially like a third airlock if we really wanted to be safe about it, and try and prevent the chlorine from falling down into our base and have just like a nice storage area to get rid of germs. That's something that Future Isaac can worry about. For now, let's go ahead and dig that out. Let's also go ahead and start building our new research station, which for now, I'm going to go ahead and put over on this side. There goes the oxalite. That is fine. We'll have one guy here, and then I'll have the next one. I'll put a space in between it. There's no need for a space in between it, but I kind of like the idea of maybe putting like a plant here, maybe a statue of some description. As we go forward, is it Frankie or Stinky who is our learner? I think he is, right? I think Stinky is the one who is good at research. Oh, maybe not. Let me check my priorities tree here. No, it is Stinky. Yeah, Stinky's the one who's doing all the research. Okay, that's fine. But once we get Stinky doing this quite often, if this area over here isn't nice, like if the decor isn't good or if it's too hot, he's going to get a little bit peeved off. You can see right now the decor is not very nice. And so ideally we do want to get maybe a light up here, maybe some kind of plant, maybe a statue, maybe some artwork, all kinds of stuff that we can put up in that area if we so wish. And I'm also thinking I will go ahead and move these two as well, just so we can kind of repurpose this layer for something different if we want. And then I think I am going to go ahead and dig this water down to this lower level here. So I'll grab a ladder, and I think I'm just going to have my duplicate dig all the way down to here, and then dig out maybe this. If we do something like that, we can't dig this out because it is too hard and we don't have a hard digger yet. That's fine. But if we dig that out, the water should start flowing through. I think we will have to dig out a little bit of this area here just to make sure we get this water over and down over here as well. But once that's done, we can dig out all of this area down here and set up like a nice large area for all of our mealwood to hopefully thrive. Again, I'm not going to replace this tile just yet because I will. I'll put down one tile here. I'm not going to bother with this guy because it's too hot anyway. He's not going to grow no matter what happens. And then we are going to run power wires. Again, I'll put the wheel probably here. And so we'll just have the wires go like this and like this. And then we'll dig out a little bit more because I would love to put a battery to the left of our power wheel if possible. And also, if possible, I would love for that battery to be a slightly better battery. This guy right here, the jumbo battery, stores more runoff power from generators, but loses charge over time. I believe our current battery does that as well. It loses charge over time, which is not great. We do get better power sources going forward, but for now, it's really all that we've got. And so we're going to kind of just have to make do with the power options that we have. But we'll throw that there, and we'll put the battery, the new double battery, right next to it when we unlock it. This guy is ready. Oh no, skill points available. Oh, okay, so skills, here we go. So Stinky has managed to acquire one skill here, and ideally we want to make him better at research. So I think advanced research is probably what we want to go for here. It allows him to use the supercomputer. Without this, he cannot use the supercomputer at all. It also gives him 2 extra science, which is just going to make him faster at completing all of our research going forward as well, which is real nice. We will delete this. We will also dig out this here as well to help with that airflow. Oxygen is actually doing fine. I was going to consider putting down, or re-putting down, I should say, our deoxidizer. Is it called the deoxidizer? Diffuser. It's been a while since I've played the game, but we will put down our diffuser again at some point. But for now, our base is nice and full of breathable oxygen, and you can see the carbon dioxide very quickly making its way down here. We are going to end up with some carbon dioxide falling down into this pit with our water. But that's fine. For the most part, it's not really something we're going to worry about. All of this is going to go fairly soon anyway, and we're going to have a nice big pit along the bottom. You can see we are really collecting the carbon dioxide over at the bottom here, which is a good thing. That's what our base is designed to do. I would love for there to be a ladder here. I don't want our duplicates to have to jump over that spot. And one of the items that I really like in the research tree here is this guy, the fire pole, which essentially it replaces the ladders, but only work in one direction, right? You can have a fire pole so that your duplicates can rapidly descend to lower parts of the base. And they're not too useful for us in our current situation, but they are pretty cool nonetheless. I am going to build some tile here, like this. I'm a little worried that there's going to be too much. Actually, you know what? I'm going to cancel a few of these real quick. And I'm also going to delete this because I kind of want to push the water away from here and then build the ladder. What I don't want is for the rest of the episode, my duplicates standing submerged in water as they dig all the way down here. So I'm going to delete these and I'm going to build tile here. What that's going to do is that's going to go ahead and... Is there something here that I need to delete? Oh yeah, there's a ladder that I need to get rid of. But once I get rid of this ladder, which they can't do because there's no ladder there, gosh dang it. If I put a ladder here and then they delete this ladder and then we delete this ladder, we can push the water over to the side, then dig down and then release the water again in a second. That might seem like a bit of a convoluted way of doing it, but I think it's going to help with the overall stress of our duplicates. And also I think it's... Oh, you don't need to do this? Yes, you don't need to do this. Okay, perfect. I would like you to build this tile first, because otherwise you're not going to be able to build it. So priority 9 for that one real quick. But yeah, it might seem a little bit tedious right now, but having our duplicates not be stressed and not be ill and not having pneumonia is probably a good thing, right? I feel like that's going to help us out in the long run, especially. So that is new research complete. We now have our jumbo battery, which I'll go ahead and throw down right about here. The jumbo battery essentially allowing our duplicate to spend less time on the power wheel because it'll charge the battery up and then you can go and do other things while the power depletes from the battery. Because right now, these guys use a combined total of 180 watts. This guy produces 400, so he is producing excess there. Speaking of power wires, I would love to deconstruct these. I'm going to put these at priority 4 because they're not really essential, but if a duplicate gets a spare minute, I would like those to be taken down. Higher priority for me right now is getting these tiles filled in right about there. Quite possibly not something that we should be working on right now, potentially. We've got like bigger fish to fry than sorting this water out, but I really want to get my new plants in this area here, and we can't really do that whilst the water is still here. So I think the water is still priority number 1. I'm a little concerned still about this body of water here. I don't know if this one tile wide, like, block that we've got right now is enough to hold this body of water in. And so just to be safe, I might go ahead and double up the walling around here, because it is quite possible for all of the water to kind of burst through and break the tile and then, you know, flood this lower level of the base, which is really not what we want. Again, this was not what I was after. I need to delete this, and then you're going to be quite... Again, the duplicates, you know, it's not their fault. They don't know what they're doing. I'll cancel this. Actually, no, I'll redo that. But I wish to build... We got to prioritize these correctly. So this needs to be like priority 9. This needs to be priority 8. And then we'll delete this one and we'll build that one back once these two are done. At which point we can then destroy them and dig all the way back down again. So we're almost there. We're almost there. So day 6 is over, which is fine. The battery will get built fairly soon here. I'll put some tile down beneath it as well. Still, we've gone up in kilocalories, which is good. We had a harvest from our mealwood here. So I'm still quite happy with 10,000 kilocalories. That's nothing to... be worried about just yet. Again, we will be going and deleting these, and we'll have the ladder continue up like so. This is going to have to move. Again, I should have thought of this before I actually put all these down, but this is going to have to move again, but that's fine. We can deal with that in a future episode. For now, I'm not too worried about the base being super symmetrical, but eventually I will want to move those over further to the left just to make things a little bit more symmetrical. We do have a shiny nymph egg here, and I'm fairly certain that if we just leave it there, you'll see it does say incubating. I think if we leave that, that will just spawn into another shine bug, I think is what that is. So we'll just have more shine bugs around. We've got quite a few. There's even 2 more trapped down here, but I think they're good. I think our duplicates like having them. They're good for decor. They keep the duplicates happy. Yeah, you'll see that wherever the shine bugs are, the decor is considered to be higher. I think part of that is just that they can see what they're doing in that area. And so having something like a lamp down on this higher level would probably be quite good for our duplicates, at least in terms of their stress. And speaking of which, there is... I'm guessing we've completed the gas research. Did we do that previously? We did, right? This one here. Oh, no, we didn't do this. We got halfway through ventilation, and then we moved our research station. I'll come back to that in a second here. I'm going to go ahead and unlock interior decor real quick. That's going to get us the lamp, it's going to get us the flower pot, and it's going to get us a ceiling light, all of which are going to help make the place look nicer, improve the decor score, and also make our duplicates just a little bit less stressed, which is always good. I would love to have a tile here. If any of you guys have got a spare minute, priority 8 would be perfect. And then we can finally look to actually digging down through here and getting this done. It took a lot longer than I thought it would, but again, I think it might be worth it going forward here. Still not perfect. A lot more of it is congregated on the left here than I was originally anticipating. To combat that, I'm just going to dig out a bit of space here and again prioritize that above whatever else Hassan is going to go do here. So hopefully he moves back down there. As always, our ladders are ideally going to be one continuous strip of ladder. And I know this is looking a little bit messy right now, but hopefully this will come together a little bit later on down the line and be nice and symmetrical and just look better in general. We do have access to a new duplicate here, and or some more shine bugs, and or a pufflet egg. Okay. Puffs are non-aggressive critters that excrete lumps of slime with each breath. That might not be great. I know that slime does carry bacteria. We can get slime lung, which is not good for our duplicates. None of our duplicates have got artistry. I don't know if it's called artistry, but none of them are good at producing artwork or statues. We've got strength and machinery. Machinery could be pretty good, plus 70% to machine operation, and strength is usually quite good anyway. Better carrying capacity, faster tidying speed, but I think for now I'm just going to go ahead and reject all and let it go ahead and generate some more duplicates for me. We do have skill points available. Let's go ahead and assign those real quick. Both Frankie and Hassan have got skill points ready to go. So Frankie is our cooking man. He is good at cuisine. So we'll give him the grilling upgrade, which you can kind of see already. He's got the heart there, meaning that that's his preferred track. And then for Hassan, we're probably going to go with either farming or digging. I think improved farming might be better. Hassan is interested in farming. Improving his farming skill will increase morale. And going forward, we can improve his agriculture score. So I think I will go for that then. That's going to allow us to hopefully farm faster in the future, you know, harvest these, plant these a little bit quicker. So now that this is finally almost taken care of, we can sweep this up, right? Let's go ahead and mop this water here. Once that water has been mopped, like so, I will then go ahead and delete what is here, and we can continue on with the ladder down. There we go. Okay, the water is gone. Perfect. So they can continue building that, and everything should work out just nicely. Whilst they are doing that, I would love for this to be a slightly higher priority so that we can actually get Stinky off the treadmill and maybe doing some research. I'm quite surprised, actually, that our stress has not gone up yet. Don't get me wrong, I'm very happy about it. I'm glad that our duplicates are not too stressed here, but I did think that the stress would go up a little bit quicker than it has done. But like I say, it's a good thing that it's not gone up. This could be a problem. Yeah, actually, I'm going to change that back again, the door setting. Having the door open all the time does make them faster. But if the shine bug does get in here, I believe it will disrupt their sleep and thus increase their stress, because nobody wants to sleep in a brightly lit room by a shining bug that presumably makes a little bit of noise as well, right? We've all been there, right? When you've got like a little fly in your room, maybe, that you can just hear buzzing around in the background, or like a bee or something. So we'll keep that out of there for now and continue on with our quest to dig all the way down to the bottom here and get this water out of the way. We are, as a result, going to trap this guy down all the way at the bottom here, but again, that's fine. He's just a casualty of our task right now. And I think I'm going to dig in this direction for our polluted water pit. Again, we've still got a bit of time. You know, we've got no full tanks yet, although this one is filling up just a little bit. But we'll dig over here, and then we'll just have like a little pit like down here or something for the polluted water. Essentially, the way that it's done is using a bottle emptier. You place it down, you specify that you want polluted water to be pumped through that bottle emptier. And so whenever there's a bottle of water, they'll go pick it up and they'll stick it through the bottle emptier and just dump it out into the world, which is exactly what we are after. Again, calories are still holding fine. I really thought we would need more food than this, but it seems like for the time being at least, this is okay. They seem to be surviving and almost maintaining a healthy balance here of food, which I'm quite happy with. People were idling a little bit there at the end. I hope that they're still able to get down and do this laddering here. I think they can. There is a large amount of carbon dioxide down here, and so it is going to be a little bit more tricky for them to breathe while they're down there. And you can see that overall, the amount of oxygen in the base is slowly kind of slipping from us, especially in here where they're sleeping. Carbon dioxide is being produced. This is kind of the ideal place for an airflow tile right now, because all of the base around it, especially the base beneath it, is rich with very breathable oxygen. But because this room is fully enclosed, it's kind of hard for the oxygen to penetrate the walls and get into there for them to breathe it in. So once we get our research done, which it is now complete, we'll go ahead and we'll continue researching pressure management here for those airflow tiles. Now, hopefully, I'm going to set this to a higher priority. Again, I really want to get this taken care of here. So we'll get that nice and high. The digging over here can wait for a little while at least. We're not too bad on the polluted oxygen just yet. Oh, look at this! We've got like a little tiny baby shine nymph. Oh my goodness, that guy is adorable. I love it. Perfect. Oh, I don't... Did he put sandstone in there? I thought I saw sandstone. I guess not. I guess what's happening here is that as they dig through, they're finding like seeds and little bits of food that they're then putting in here because the priority of this box is so high, which is fine. I do want the food in there where possible. We could just dig here as well to make room for that. Although, you know what? I'm going to cancel that real quick. I'm going to get this hole dug just so that we don't accidentally end up with water flooding through into this area here. It's a slim chance because there's not much water there, but it is entirely possible and something that I would rather avoid if we can. These guys... Oh! The colony lacks a hard digging skill. Okay, so at this point we are going to have to switch over and do like this. And again, we'll set the priority there just a little bit higher so they get that taken care of. We can't dig through that just yet. That is something we probably should have done over here. Instead of doing farming, maybe if we'd have done hard digging, that might have been a better choice, just so that we get that extra excavation so you can dig faster, and we also get the ability to dig through some of this harder rock. That probably, in hindsight, would have been a better use of our skill point, but that's fine. Okay, so again, I'm going to set the priority of the bottom layers a little lower, just so they dig this bit out first and don't end up falling in the water, because that's not what I want. They do have to pop back up every now and again to actually, you know, deposit resources, but also to breathe in general. I think for now, I will use this area up here for storage bins. So we'll just put a few of these down like that, so that eventually we can start sweeping up and clearing out the mess that is kind of covering our entire base right now. Come on, guys. What? They can't get out. They can't get out. Okay, now please build a little staircase for yourself right here and make that like priority 9. Otherwise, these guys are definitely going to get hypothermia, and they are almost certainly gonna drown down there, which is not what we want. Okay, they're not ill, which is good. They do need to breathe, of course. But now, if we go ahead and we delete this, and we kind of dig out like this and this, ideally, all of our water here should flow down to the lower level. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. We'll also dig out this bit here in a second, because all that water's going to sit there as well. But that is perfect. They might get a little wet, and again, stress might go up. But for the most part, this has worked as intended, which is good. We got another shine egg there. We might have to kill a few of these at some point. I think the shine bug situation could possibly get out of control. There is ranching opportunities now, so we can maybe start to tame them and maybe cage them up somewhere and use them for something else. But before we get to that point, there might be way too many of them, at which point things could become an issue. Although for now, they don't actually seem like they're doing anything bad whatsoever. They seem like a net benefit to us at this moment in time. So I'm not too worried just yet. All right, cycle 9. Our outhouse does need emptying now, and so what I am going to do is dig out this little pit over here and begin pumping our polluted water into it. So I think what we are going to get here is 1 bottle of polluted water that's going to sit on the floor until we deal with it. That does take him a while. I'll speed that up so that he can work his way through that. We do have new research that we can complete, but for now I'm quite happy with our duplicants working on other things for the moment. I would also love for this to get finished. For now, I kind of want everything in there, and so I'll just set that to everything, and we can copy that setting over to the other guys once they are fully unlocked. Not all of the water is going to flow here, but we can always go ahead and just mop up whatever doesn't get taken care of. That will produce little bottles of fresh water, and if we really wanted to, we could then go ahead and put down another bottle emptier over like here, or maybe down here, to empty that water out into the desired location. But for now, we have bigger fish to fry, so I am going to go ahead and put this guy right about there. I'm also going to continue to build tile along the floor, like so. And I think somewhere in here we got polluted dirt. Now, polluted dirt is one of those things that I don't think we want to keep in our boxes because the polluted dirt, I believe, can carry food poisoning, which is not great. Although I don't see an option in here for polluted dirt. Oh, there it is, under organic. So I'm going to uncheck polluted dirt. Ideally, I believe we want to put our polluted dirt into a compost, which I think is maybe under refinement. Yeah, reduces polluted dirt and other compostables down to regular dirt. So ideally, we want to get rid of this polluted dirt off the ground because right now it is polluting the oxygen around it. Also, slight issue here with our oxygen in general. Let's get another oxygen diffuser back online. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 of them down. We don't really want 2 running all the time. It's a little overkill, especially for our base right now. But we can go ahead and turn these off if and when we don't need them anymore. Like with the printing pod here, you can just go ahead and disable building, at which point it will just stop doing whatever it is doing and stop consuming resources. And so we can get the algae oxidizers. I got the name right again? Oxygen diffusers. Have they changed the name of these? I swear these used to be called like algae deoxidizers or something. Or algae oxidizers maybe. But the oxygen diffusers here will stop consuming algae when we turn them off. For now though, I would like them to be a slightly higher priority at priority 6. And that we should see a nice amount of oxygen being pumped out into the rest of the base. We do have gas tiles now, airflow tiles available to us. And so I will go ahead and put a few of these. I'll put 2 here for now, just so the oxygen can flow into the bedroom. I don't really want to put them on the floor of the bedroom, just because I think that there is going to be polluted oxygen in this room here that I really don't want moving up and into the space where our duplicates sleep, if at all possible. So this water is almost done. We're going to wait for this oxalite here to burn itself away, and then the water will flow down. We'll go ahead and we'll dig out a nice amount of area here. And really, we want all of this dug out, but we are going to have to put some flooring in to get to this higher stuff here. And also digging this out will move some of this oxygen, because right now it's a little hard for them to get water. Oh yeah, look at that. That is significantly nicer. It's a much more, this is the blue we want, right? This is the color we're after here. Beautiful. Beautiful. And over here, actually, we didn't set this up. We want this to be polluted water. It looks like we don't have any yet. I think until we get some, the option won't appear on the pump there. But once we get some, we'll set that to polluted water, and they'll dump all that polluted water over there. I will also go ahead and set up a compost. For now, I'm thinking that I go ahead and set it up maybe like just right here. I believe the compost itself does also produce polluted oxygen, but there is an oxygen filter. This guy here, the deodorizer, which will use sand to filter polluted oxygen from the air, reducing disease spread. And so I guess this is what I'm going to go for next. We can also use water to filter carbon dioxide from the air. And so later on down the line, if we get too much carbon dioxide, like down here, you can see it is filling up. And if we don't handle it, eventually it might fill up and kind of take over some of the parts of our base and make it unbreathable. If that does become a problem, we can actually go ahead and pump water into the carbon skimmer and remove carbon from the air, which is pretty cool. I think in doing so, it turns normal water into polluted water. And so there is some kind of setup you could do to take the water, remove the carbon dioxide, filter the water back into clean water, and, work with it like that. But I will have to look into that because it's been a while since I've done that setup. And so not super familiar with how that works right out of the gate. You'll see that our first storage bin has filled up quite quickly. We'll copy the settings over there so that fills up even faster. But you can see this is doing fine. I'm going to go ahead and disable these real quick so they stop pumping oxygen out. Because again, they don't need to be running all the time. I think eventually they just start burning through algae, which is not great. They also use power, which is also unnecessary. The more power they use, the more time we're going to have somebody on the wheel. The more time we have somebody on the wheel, the more time they're not doing other things around the base that need to be taken care of. I did want food to be a much more important issue in today's episode. However, we seem to be doing just fine. Even with just 4 mealwood seeds here, we're up to 13,500 kilocalories, and we started the episode with just about 8,000. And so I'm very happy with where our food situation is right now. We could even take it one step further and build a microbe musher, and then use that to turn our meal lice into meal loaf, I think it's called, which essentially combines the meal lice with water and just increases the calories, right? I think by default we get, let's see, actually, it'll tell us, we should also get rid of that so we can actually get to our ration box. But if we look in here, we have got meal lice. By default, the meal lice has a certain amount of calories in it, although I'm not actually quite sure. You'll see we are at 99% fresh. The carbon dioxide is doing its work, which is good. I don't remember exactly how many kilocalories are in like one meal ice, but what we can do is combine it with water to get extra calories, essentially turning water into calories if things get a bit more desperate with food. But right now we're not in that situation, so all is good. I'm gonna wait for this to go. I was gonna say I'm gonna mop this up, but we'll wait for this, then the water will flow down, then we'll mop this up. I guess we could go and mop up this area for now if our duplicates aren't doing anything. Also, we do have a new duplicate available at the printing pod. We've got pip seeds, we've got mirth leaf seeds, we've got Turner, and we've got Ashcan, who does have one creativity, which is what I was looking for, by the way, when I said like artistry early on in the episode, but still not really what I'm after. I'm going to reject it all again, just because of the fact that I think we're doing okay right now on our duplicate front. I guess really I should have taken some of the seeds, actually. That was probably a mistake, my bad. I will go ahead and set this again to a slightly higher priority just to get the polluted dirt out off the floor and into the composter. And also what I will do is go ahead and make a deodorizer once we unlock it, which we have yet to do. Our duplicates are all busy munching down on some food. Oh, he's not happy. Expressing themselves. Soggy feet. Okay, so he's not happy because his feet are soggy. That's fair. We did make them spend quite a bit of time in water in this episode, which probably wasn't the best for them. You'll see the oxygen is now much more spread out. So even though it is kind of getting to the point where we're low on oxygen again, and we should probably turn these back on, at least it is the same throughout the base. Like, it's no longer... It is a little worse in here, but not quite as bad as it was before. The air does move in and out a little better now than it did previously. We got a way to get rid of our polluted water if and when we get some, which should be fairly soon here. This wash basin is almost full. Next time we can come back, we can look at actually increasing the number of mealwood seeds we have, maybe setting up a micro musher to get more calories out of our food. We can also look at getting more power in a more automated way with the coal generator, which I believe is up here somewhere. Yeah, this guy right here. And thus get our duplicates off of the wheel and doing other stuff. And then also there's just a ton of other stuff that we can research, unlock, and work through as we go here, making our lives for our duplicates easier and progressing them on technologically wise till they get to the point where they can make rockets and explore space and all that good stuff. But for now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode of Oxygen Not Included there. As always, if you did enjoy the video and you want to see more in the future, be sure to go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help out a lot. There was so much support on the first episode. A huge thanks to everybody who left a like there. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.